Hey, Jonathan here. Let's go ahead and create a context model as we are learning modeling basics in Archicad. Let's do it. To start modeling the topography, we're going to start with something really simple. We preloaded something for you already. Let's go from the view map, double click on the ground floor, which is what we prepared for you. And there you should be able to see not only the active layer where you can select all of the things we have provided, but also you should be able to see a reference behind it. If you do not, make sure to open it or to right click on 01 context in worksheet and show a trace reference. That way it should look like this. If you still don't see it, make sure that you click on this little arrow here and make sure that all types is selected. Let's get started. So as always, and as we always work, we have the exercise number, which is here, 2.1. We have already preloaded an image for you on the right side. And notice how on the left side, the exercise has already been done. So the way we're going to model this context here is essentially first, we need to look at it and understand what we really need from it, which is, I think, the most important part. Not because we're going to be 3D printing and working with technology that we suddenly only needed that and we don't need the person anymore. Not at all. So let's analyze this. So basically, first we have the project, which is this one. We have context houses around it. Very well. We also have a contour lines of the terrain. And if I analyze them, I realize that I have a flat area behind me and a flat area in front of me. So basically all I really need is a flat part here, a flat part there, and then something in between, which is something I do not need anything complicated to model to have a proper, very quick to make context. So let's get started by going to the toolbox and clicking on Morph tool. And then we are going to adjust the following settings. Make sure that the structure is generic structural, and the geometry method is set to box, which is this one here. Then we're going to draw the two topographic levels like this. And let's enter the value 60 meters, tab 50 meters, enter. Then for the extrusion length, we can go ahead and set it to 2 meters. That is how high this is going to be. And now for the second most important part of building a context model is to move the frame into the right spot. So we see now, for example, if I have on the right side some context, I want to see it. That means that this would be really wrong because I won't be picking up these two buildings that are literally part of the context. So here it seems obvious, but just putting it on the middle, does not cut it. Like, let's go around and see that we have enough space here and enough space there as well. So let's push it up a little bit to catch a little bit more of these houses. And then let's push it to the right so we catch a proper part of the right one. That way we will have a model that we can actually use. And that's how we fall into the one that we see here. Next up, we need to draw the line of the topographic level. That means that I'm going to go ahead and draw on top of this morph, which I can show you the way it looks here on the 3D view. This is the one we made, and this is the one I just did. So as you can see, we're going to go from here to here. For that, I need to draw these two lines on top of it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back to the ground floor on the tab. And here I'm going to click on it to select it, zoom in, and then where I want to start my line, I look for the pet palette by long clicking, and then I go into the little pencil where it basically means add a polyline. Then we change the geometry method for polyline. If not, I will be forced to do a square, which I don't want. And here basically I just move around. If the smart track is bothering you, just go ahead and disable it here. And then you should be able to double click when you finish on that corner. So that would be the first one. And the second line would be this one. The least amount of polygons, the better. That's always true for any kind of terrain in 3D, mostly if we're just going to use it to design and not to build. Double click to end. And now the two contours have been made. So now you double click on 3D window and move upwards a little bit so that you can see what we've been working on. Then on the arrow tool, let's make sure that we adjust the selection type to the sub element, which is the white arrow. Once we've done that, notice how you can suddenly click only on the top one. And now we can drag upwards 1 meter. Command D for dragging, 3 meters. 3, enter. All right, let's keep going. For now we're going to move on to doing the context buildings, which is basically making from the terrain, building some buildings around us, and in this case, even the actual building. And to do this, it's best done in the ground floor, where we already have our preloaded context. Then we move to the right side of it. You can see on the left side is the example. This was done with also morphs. As you can see, we have different buildings. We're going to do just that. So let's go ahead and zoom in and start working. We're going to go and start the morph command and then adjust the material to generic structural. The geometry method, I would suggest for it to be a 3-point rectangular. And then I can basically just go from one to the other. Let me turn on the smart track here. I'm going to need it. And this is allowing me to essentially put one building every time. Now this one seems to be a little bit too far left. So I can adjust that to here. And then let's keep going on this side here. There it is first. Because what we're doing now is go to the 3D window is that we can now see the squares popping out of the actual project or model. As you can see here, it's down here. All of these are here. State surfaces. So next up is going to be to extrude it. Let's extrude them to 6 meters. If you're not sure about the heights, you can of course always check the one that we already did on the right side. Once you have the boxes, we recommend to draw on top of them from middle point to middle point like this. Long click, pet palette, move on to add polyline, then draw a straight line to the other midpoint and change the geometry method to double click. You got it. This allows us now to change to sub element, select that particular edge and start the drag command, command D, pick up a reference point and then move it upwards as high as you think it would look good. Now you repeat these on the other three. I will finish this one using a last command, which is the split command. As you can see, the model is going outside of the model space. For that, I want to show you another command that's called split. First, you need to select what you want to split. Then you start the X command. Then you look for the surface that you want to split through. It picks it up. And then you click on the side of that surface that you want to keep selected. In this case, on the right side. That allows me to just click on delete and then it just goes away. Now repeat these 1, 2, 3, 5 times and you should land somewhere like this. Now, if it looks different, the material itself, there's nothing to stress about. You can just select all of it and then basically just tell it that the surface shouldn't be specific, but it should come from the structure itself. All right, so last up, as always, we're going to go ahead and export our STL model. To do this in Archicad is very simple. We just select the model we want to export. Then we isolate it with F4. Then we go to Save As under File, Save As. We pick where we want to save this. And then we say Stereolithography File, STL, Save. And then we assign the scale, which is 500. When we go and pick it up, in Mac at least, you can just preview the STL and this is ready to 3D print. That's it. See you in the next one.